Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to a very, very special episode of Hillside Gardener, as this is my 900 subscriber special. So obviously we are not at the Hillside Garden today, as you can tell. There are no flowers, there are no plants and trees. So this is my friend's house. They are first-time homeowner, and they are looking at just putting in some landscaping and asked me to come over and take a look at their blank canvas to see what I think about and give some ideas of whenever you move into a new place, how you can analyze your property and find out what's going to be best for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, looking at the front of the house here from the road. Now, if you're looking straight from the road, you're going to look at for the curb appeal, right? And to me, this is just a kind of an eyesore, quite honestly, and the homeowner did agree. So what I think, because of this location, you're going to need to put something in the middle of these two windows. Now, I was going to think like a trellis or some kind of arbor or something in the middle to kind of draw your attention away from just the brick, if you will. And I was thinking maybe some clematis or another kind of vining plant in the middle would be wonderful to kind of set this wall apart. I did caution against ivy. They mentioned they maybe wanted some ivy, and that's, at least in my opinion, not good because it will eventually wear away at the bricks and the structure of those as well when they anchor in with their roots. So it's not really a good idea, and stuff spreads and you can never get rid of it, and I'm just not a big fan of it. So use caution if you're going to use ivy. So the next thing I'm looking at here is this corner. So if you see this corner, and they have a nice open area of the yard here. The houses are far enough apart. So what I thought would be nice in this corner is this would be an excellent place to put a rose bush. They mentioned they wanted some roses, and I think right here is a better option than where they had originally thought, which would be more over here where this little entryway where the whiskey barrel planter is at the moment, because that's going to be used as a walkway. So a caution against, when you're looking at where you're going to be highly traveling areas, you don't want to put things that are going to hurt you. Okay, so don't put anything with thorns like blackberries, maybe some raspberries, or even roses or other ornamentals that may have thorns in a place that's going to be highly trafficked, especially if you have kids like the homeowner here does. That's just a recipe for somebody getting an owie, right? So anyways, I kind of advise them that they should put it over here on this corner, which will be just fine because roses love full sun, and they'll do just fine in this area, which gets sun all day long, as the evening sun at my back shining directly on this section right here, as well as the early morning sun as a car goes by, as the early morning sun hits on the other side of the house that I'm walking to. So we'll get there eventually. Moving down along this part of the house right here, I'm just going to do a little walking tour. No editing. We're just doing one take on this, guys, trying to give you the real, honest, real-time opinion. They mentioned it's along the side of this house. They're not really interested in any kind of landscaping or anything to that matter. And that's fine because everybody has what they want. They want this to stay open just for mowing purposes and things such as that. So no big deal. But right here, a really interesting opportunity that they were talking about is you can kind of see right under their porch and their deck right here that they want to use as an outdoor, just an outdoor area they're going to use to grill on, just to socialize and hang out. But the neighbor's house is directly behind me. So I mentioned that right here would be a perfect spot for some like a privacy hedge. So if you want to use the thuja or any kind of non-spiky, so avoid holly or anything like that, hawthorn hedges. But there are some things you can use right here that would act as a screen. So they had mentioned kind of making it grow up, and here's the decking right here that's actually on the second floor, to kind of from the decking here down to the ground to make this one solid green hedge, which I think would be awesome use of green space, kind of add some color and some just better than putting up a privacy fence, which I think would be kind of an eyesore and really not really add anything to the landscaping as much as it would probably detract it just a little bit. So keeping these things in mind, always I think try to think of the best possible thing. Don't always just try to go ahead and just build another structure. Allow some landscaping to be your structures, like a hedge or anything maybe of that nature. So another thing is the homeowners wanted some rhododendrons and or hostas. Okay, they love hostas and rhododendrons that they thought about putting them out front. Okay, I had to caution against that because those are shade and moisture loving plants. Now out front, where we just saw where the front of the house there, it gets full sun morning to night. Okay, there's no break. So the hostas and the rhododendrons are going to suffer and not like that whatsoever. However, back here, because of the orientation of the house, and you can kind of tell hopefully from this angle, it's very much shadier and it's much moister. And this would be a very, a much improved place where you'd want to put your hostas. What I'm trying to say, get that out of there. And also for your rhododendrons, they're going to be as big as well, and maybe kind of fill in some of this space along the foundation. All right, and now with these big pillars that go from the bottom up to the top to the second floor deck, if you wanted to put a vining plant, another clematis, one of my better, more favorite landscaping plants for the even when they're done flowering, they do provide a nice evergreen kind of foliage. Those would be nice to kind of vine up, add some more color for the homeowners to enjoy while they're enjoying their hopefully partially screened in privacy area underneath their deck back here at the backyard. So panning back around here like this, you can kind of tell beyond the swing set and the little jungle gym there's a runoff. Okay, and so a lot of water is going to accumulate from the upper part. There's a hill, very steep hill back there. It funnels down, and this hill I'm standing on funnels down this way into this little low spot. So I kind of caution against kind of digging down there, for one, because of the water and sewer lines. You want to avoid any kind of digging that may interfere with something like that as well. And quite honestly, it's just not going to be a very good spot, because the potential for water runoff or flooding or just debris building up, you're taking a chance of possibly harming some plants by just getting them too wet and kind of rotting out the roots. And it's really not the best area for sun. At the moment it is very sunny, but in the morning it's blocked out, and in the late afternoon it's going to be dark as well. So you can take a chance and plant maybe some ferns or maybe even hostas once again in this area. But just so you know, you may not have the lush green perfect garden that you might have in a better location. So it's all about examining locations and possibilities. Now, I know we all have our favorite plants and we all have things that we want to grow, but there's also what you can grow. Okay, so you don't want to put, like I mentioned, heat loving, full sun loving plants in a shady, dark, cool area. That's just a recipe for failure. Now, what I noticed here as well, where this downspout comes down the house, is I notice a low gap right here. And if you examine closely, this is actually a drain that is embedded into the ground right there. You can barely see it right here, which has been filled in with mud and has basically, over time, just like I said, filled in, blocking this drain partially. But that's also an indication that needs to be cleaned out, and that's doable. That's not a big deal. However, when examining this, as the water is going to run off of this roof, and you don't realize how much water actually does run off of a roof during a heavy thunderstorm. You're talking hundreds of gallons of water potentially running off at a rapid pace. And right here, as it leaves, you got to follow the path of least resistance. This water is going to take this line right here, and it's just going to take it, and it's going to go out this way, which is down to eventually to that creek area of that water collection point in the low spot. So again, this whole area right here, if you just decided, hey, I was going to put a vegetable garden in, maybe you think like right here is a nice kind of a level area. It's a nice spot. I'm going to plant some tomatoes and put a little fence up. That's all well and good, but everything runs downhill. And in this case, the water is definitely going to be right in this area, keeping it very saturated. So it's probably not going to be the best area to site a garden. Whereas maybe if you really, really were inclined over here to the right of the swing set in this nice little flat area there, that's where I would advise to put a small garden over here as opposed to on the other side of the yard, due to the fact that it's going to be less severe of a water collection issue down the road. So that being said, when examining a new property, you need to be out early in the morning, you need to be out early in the evening or late in the evening, however I should say that. However, there's no try and true 100%, one time is going to be the answer. Because in my house at the Hillside Gardens, okay, early spring, the front of my house gets full sun all day long. Like my flower beds get 100% full on sun. But by the time summertime peaks around and there's this massive oak tree that is across the street from me, when it's full of leaves, it is going to provide a different shade, okay? As the summertime rolls around as well, the sun is going to be higher in the sky, so the sun angle is going to be different. So you need to think about all seasons when you plant things, okay? So maybe because you're really excited, it's early in the spring, you get out there, you dig in, you plant some stuff, but you know what? You didn't realize that this giant tree across the street is going to start casting complete shade, and then by June or July, you're getting 3 or 4 hours of sunlight. Your plants will not be happy, okay? So I hope this did help you guys, give you a little bit of things to look for when buying a new property, or when you're moving into a new place or renting a new place, whatever it may be. Just consider the big picture. Consider all angles. Consider the light, the sunlight, the plants that will do better in those areas. You know, you don't want to put a square peg in a round hole. The old saying, right? Don't put a sun-loving, heat-loving plant in a dark, cool shade. And again, don't put your ferns that love the wet feet with the cool temperatures and the shady area in a place where they're just going to cook in full sun all day long in August. They're not going to be happy, and you'll lose the plants. All right, guys, so for this 900 subscriber special, this special on location home site tour, garden planting, blank slate, blank canvas. So if you recently bought a house, or you had some ideas about maybe some questions about what you should plant or how you should evaluate what you should plant at a new location, feel free to drop those comments down below. I'm always willing to help, and will answer any question you guys may or may not have about examining a new site and what to plant. So thank you guys for following along with me on this off-site hillside garden tour. Until next time, I hope you guys are doing well. Happy gardening and good luck. Bye-bye.